Hey guys, happy Resurrected Sunday. I am feeling resurrected and I am resurrected. I just want to tell you about my experience during worship today. It was just so magnificent. As I was worshiping today and, just reflecting on my past and reflecting on the Lord and His goodness. And I started weeping and I started crying because it's just such joy to see the Lord work deep down into your soul and remove things that were once a burden to you. And I could recall back in the past when I was in the deep stages of being pruned and just feeling very dull, feeling very powerless, didn't want to be pruned, and just had this complete victim mindset. And I just thought God was against me and the enemy was I just had this twisted mentality and I didn't see what the Lord was doing. And as I started just releasing a little bit more, bringing my mind around to understanding who the Lord is shaping me to be, and just seeing that through that process and to now that He's always been good. And He just started reminding me and showing me of the insecurities that I held on. Sometimes we can have insecurities that we attach to ourselves and to our name, and we see ourselves as those insecurities. So we don't even see ourselves as who God calls us. We see ourselves as depression. We see ourselves as anxiety. We see ourselves as discouragement. We see ourselves as low self-esteem. But God sees you as greater than that. And when I started reflecting on that, on how I held so much to insecurities and keeping them bottled up, keeping them protected, like you're coddling the things that God want to set you free from. That's the thing. And then seeing the open gate, or just seeing what He was doing in that time, I just started crying because it's just such a freedom to see that, wow, even in those times when I refused to see, or in those times when I felt like God just wasn't there or He just didn't understand, it wasn't that. But He saw a greater picture. He saw a greater me, and He sees a greater you. And I just started crying. And even through the worship, I just felt the trickling of the promise in front of us. And that even made me felt even more overjoyed. Because sometimes you know about the prophecies over your life, but it's like, when is it going to come to pass? How close you are? How far is it? And sometimes you can tend to get to counting and wondering, when is it going to hurry up? But as you get so deep down into obeying what God is telling you to do and focusing on areas in your life that can please Him, areas in your life that you can surrender to Him, the process of getting there becomes enjoyable because you are no longer counting the days getting to the promise, but you are enjoying the process to the promise. And it was just such an exciting time for me. And then what ended the day for Resurrected Sunday for us, as we were inside the car, and our sister in Christ, she came to us and she gave us a song that's called You Are Good. And my husband and I, we sat in the car along with our sister, and we were there just worshiping the Lord. And we were there crying out to the Lord and just seeing that He is good. I look back over my life, and I'm talking about from the point where the Lord sent my husband and I we were in the Bahamas, and He sent us to Canada. We didn't know anyone. We didn't have any consistent cash flow. I was unemployed, and I didn't even have my temporary residency here. That was a spiritual battle on its own. My husband was the only one working and going to school. And through that whole process, we had to trust the Lord with every cent, with everything that we had to trust Him. And to see the process from then to now, it's been about 18 months. We've been over here for about a year now. And to see the process, it's just so good to see God working in our lives and to see that He is so good. When we look back over our lives, He's always been there. And my husband had me to say, He is God Almighty. I don't want us to forget that. I don't want you to forget that. He is God Almighty. We have to say these things because it brings our mind in alignment with who God is, not who our circumstances is, not what is due, not the bill that is due, not the burden, not the obstacles that is in front of us, but who God is, and He is God Almighty. And today is Resurrection Sunday, and He is God Almighty because He conquered the grave. He set us free from sin, from hell, and from death. So I want you to remember that God is a God of almighty and all possible things. So just surrender all to Him, and He will and He shall make things come to pass and bring you to your expected end. God bless you, and you have a good Resurrected Sunday.